Okay. This next comedian has a way about him, which is not unlike Hannibal Lecter. So if you have sensitive anuses, please just step outside real fast, because Scott Corcoran's coming up and he does not need a microphone.
I feel like the old Sam Kinison routine. I'm about to come up and, where's the bottom? Well, we found it. We have found the bottom. Well, I'm not really a stand-up. I'm more of a poet. But if like you read somebody your poetry and they laugh at it, does that make you a comedian or just a bad poet? Jamin Heston was a member of two outsider groups. They were both despised by the mainstream culture and each other. He was a furry Mormon. It was easy to see why he was a Mormon. What else could he have been? Born third of 7 children to Elder Heston and his mother, Joella. Jamin was raised in the LDS, but it was harder to see how Jamin could even heard about the furries, much less become one. In their Mormon community, they rarely socialized with the unsaved masses, and they kept socially busy with Mormon-only events. And there was a surprising lack of talk at those events about the use of furry animal costumes for marital aids. The internet into Jamin's house was issued through a Christian provider. Porn links and domains constantly found and blocked, and on the computer itself, an LDS-approved blocking program which took care of political topics like evolution and other things, whatever that may be. He knew it blocked evolution because he had been assigned to write a paper on intelligent design. He had tried to do the research on the computer, and it was like evolution had just never existed. When he brought this problem to his science teacher, Mrs. Lorna Beth Young, she pointed out pages 35 through 43 in his textbook. Here are the arguments against evolution. Copy them into your paper. Memorize them for the test. Problem solved. Jamie could try the library, but he was scared to use the computers there. Sure, they were connected to the entire unsaved internet, but the desks were arranged in a semicircle around Arabeth, the librarian's desk, and if she saw anything unsaved on your screen, that would get you thrown out. Also, Caleb said the computer would keep a list of places you viewed. One slip could earn you a weekend of prayer camp. Jamie had heard about his right to privacy, and it was illegal for Arabeth to snoop on his reading habits and internet sites. But he'd heard this in a conversation behind the gym with Ezekiel and Kale, and no telling if the story was real or just something they made up. Besides, challenging an elder could get you a month in prayer camp. No, thank you. My pages are dying on me here. He had gotten the talk from his father, Elder Heston. But it was so full of metaphors that it was confusing. Something about a woman's private area being a soft bird's nest of which he would put his eggs, Elder Heston said, vaguely pointing at his scrotum. Jamin thought about his goodly wife having a hanging bird's nest of pubes, a real one you could cut off and sell at the Chinese restaurant and make soup. Jamin was not looking forward to hacking his way through that on his wedding night. The first crack was at the GameStop. Being in Utah, there was an approved section where he met his first imaginary girlfriend, Rogue the Bat from Sonic Adventures 2. Once he worn that box out, he went on to Crystal from Star Fox Adventures. He had a fling with Candy Kong, but being a Mormon, he could never imaginarily bring her home to Mom. Which gives us feeling bad. He would go out to the GameStop and play the forbidden Darkstalkers. We used to see that slut Felicia. Once he even played Demon Blade. He liked Kagamushi's fluffy tail, but her kimono was cut way too low. After many years of Crystal as his secret imaginary girlfriend, it was time for Jamin to go on mission. With his partner Kale at his side, his magic underwear, his hidden armor underneath his clothes, they biked through the streets of Chicago, enduring many slammed doors in their face. Then one magic day, Jamin knocked on a door, and the door was answered by a man in a fox costume. Cale looked like he didn't want to go in, but Jamie was already sharing. "We would like to come in and tell you about the books of Jesus Christ." Jamin talked for hours for Lonnie the fox. He told Lonnie about Jesus' love and how Jesus had visited America in the Pilgrim times, and how the Indians were really the lost tribes of the Jews. Lonnie asked if there was any place in the LDS for a sexy fox. "Oh yes," Jamin thought, "we will make room for a sexy fox." But he was too scared to say anything. Cale just sat there silent, looking pale with his mouth open. Cale gave Lonnie the sexy fox a copy of the Book of Mormon and made excuses to leave. Lonnie the sexy fox then handed Jamin a flyer for the next furry party. The encounter had clearly shaken Cale. He just kept saying, "That costume, it just didn't smell right." Jamin had to make a show about throwing away the furry flyer, but he had burned the date onto his brain. The last night of the party, Jamin snuck out of the mission house. Sneaking out was easy. Lots of people did it, and usually got caught afterwards. But he had a cover story. He was going to say he was going out to learn to shoot heroin. He was scared his bike would not get him to the party on time, but he got there, and Lonnie was there in his fox costume, welcoming Jason inside. Lonnie had an old cat costume Jamin could borrow for the party, but it had that strange smell. But beggars could not be choosers. Lonnie warned him that the costume could get a little hot, so he stripped down to his magic underwear, and then Jamin became the sexy cat. I'm Scott Corker. Good night.
That was Scott Corker and everybody. Don't flash at me, you dick. Yeah, so if anyone just got like verbally impregnated by an incest baby, it's because of Scott.